Onionhead and
Okay, this is going to be a longer presentation from targeted individuals to targeted survivors. I really don't like the phrasing of targeted individuals. It's a counterintelligence psychological operation to detract from people currently going through governmental experimentation, but in particular neuroweapons trafficking. Targeted individuals are survivors of deep state human trafficking operations using advanced technologies, synthetic biology, directed energy weapons, acoustic weapons, etc., and counterintelligence techniques. They are the pilot program of a coming global transhuman technocracy and worldwide depopulation. Average citizen to targeted survivor, this is the process. 1, you are nominated by a person, corporation, agency, or military branch. 2, you are covertly spied upon. They make a profile and they create a plan. I put a question mark there because I don't know the specific processes of this. 3, covertly poisoned with synthetic biology Morgellons and implanted with wireless body area network sensors. Depending on the person, there'll be more of an emphasis of one or over the other. But most people today are being poisoned with synthetic biology Morgellons in the population. So most targeted individuals have less implants and more of the synthetic biology going on. But that is to say there are some people out there with lots of implants, and that has to do with various things. When did they get in the program? Were they kidnappable? Were they in and out of medical procedures? That type of thing. Mental institutions. Whatever they can do, they'll try to do. 4, covert experiment of light, sound, frequencies, dues. I put covert experiment of light, sound, frequencies, directed energy weapons, starts to make you some sort of patsy. So that's one of their first goals, is to get some type of habit, behavior, effect that is measurable and demonstratable. And then the overt assault begins. It's all out war. That's the secondary experiment. Basically, how can they torture you to death using these weapon systems, give you chronic inflammation, and kill you with heart disease, cancers, clots, strokes, that type of thing. And then you're tortured to death with the various weapon systems, which I just went over. The early stages, and this is all roughly just a general guideline of what it means to be experimented on by the government, be made a targeted individual. Early stages are: after nomination, you're spied upon by CIA type professional profilers. I say question there because they belong to many agencies, the FBI contractors, U.S. military contractors, State Department, different corporations. They're interchanging these jobs. So they'll start in one place, they'll go to another, and then they'll go to another. So the private public world, as far as this goes, is very real. It's a big club and you aren't in it. All information that's saved by the NSA and other agencies is integrated. So your internet, your purchasing, your credit score, all that type of thing. A plan is created for a specific outcome. That's what's different per governmental experiment. With using these neuroweapons, they'll desire to have different things happen to different people. For some people, for some women, it's to be made into some sort of prostitute where they can be accessed for sexual things. For some people, it's to do the shootings. For some people, it's to do those acts of violence. It can be financial for some people. It can be about real estate for some people. It can be about so many different things. Infection of synthetic biology Morgellons is usually by food tamperings and or break-ins, and that's only to make sure that you're thoroughly inundated with it. It's already in the food supply. It's already being sprayed on us in chemtrails. Handlers are introduced in the form of fake friends, or real work colleagues, but they're all fake friends pretty much, more or less. Sometimes even family is used when family has these connections to the deep state. Directed energy weapons are used at undetectable levels. They'll be used to create confusion, short-term memory problems, sleeping problems, slight chronic inflammation. I say slight because it'll be like skin, dry skin, that type of thing. Be used to cause comfort, discomfort. It'll be used to cause you to do various things. but they won't ever do it on the early stages. They won't ever get it up to the point where you'll know for sure that this is an external frequency that's being broadcasted onto you. Nanobots are sprayed into your environment to help facilitate all of this, in particular the synthetic biology Morgellons, but it could also be to disrupt sleep patterns. That's a whole nother presentation in itself, how the nanobots work. Heavy metal particulates are inserted into food during break-ins. That's a big part of it. The heavy metal particulates make the synthetic biology work, also keep you in a chronic inflamed position, and give you headaches, things like that, can disable you for short-term periods. The middle stages are the targeting goes overt. What that means is that you understand that people are starting to follow you around. Federal agency people, contractors of contractors, maybe criminals. Criminal gangs often are used as contractors by the FBI. That's the majority. That's the majority of who's organizing it here in domestic United States is FBI. So they use contractors to make sure there's plausible deniability in case those people get caught. And sometimes those contractors use contractors. That's usually where the criminal gangs come in. Break-ins become obvious. They start moving around things to freak you out, but not only that, to keep you looking over here while they're doing something over here, like poisoning your food, whatever. There's a lot of things they'll do there. Directed energy weapons start physically hurting. That's when the headaches start, the pulsating, the vertigo, the muscle twitches that never stop, things like that. It's pretty also endless. The vomiting sensation, the physical heating of the body from an external source. That's when you'll start noticing it, middle stages. Air pollutants of heavy metal particulate and synthetic biology Morgellon filaments are concentrated and used to nauseate and confuse. You might not notice that at the middle stage, but it's definitely happening, meaning that there are airborne particulates being released into your near environment to help poison you, sicken you, that type of thing. Voice-to-skull technologies are introduced. They start attacking you with another weapon system where you start hearing voices. They're not voices in the schizophrenic way. They are literally being projected onto you with laser weapons. It's been going on for a very, very long time. Audio beam weapons have existed for a very, very long time. And they might be used your own voice. They might be used your friends or family, deceased relatives. They might present themselves as famous people or as religious figures. That's all very common. Citizen informant networks begin stalking, threatening, vandalizing, poisoning, and other felonies. That's the gang stalking people talk about. That's mostly counterintelligence, but they can do real things like physically hurt you, vandalize your property, and poison you when you go out to eat by putting heavy metal particulate into the food supply. Human trafficking contractors and citizen informants move in and around your house. I mean, they physically move. They get write-offs from the government. They get subsidies from the government to become your neighbors. And they do that so that they can release airborne particulate, so they can be part of what's called street theater, which is another term for gang stalking, which is really counterintelligence efforts. And again, the counterintelligence efforts are to do a variety of things, but what they're presenting as is never what they really are. That's why it's counterintelligence. It's made to confuse you. And not only that, but produce a specific behavior and outcome to get you to go to jail, mental institution, to appear that you're crazy to other people, stuff like that. Small airplanes, helicopters begin following you. They're doing this for a very specific reason. They are measuring that air particulate into you, and they're also reading your biosensors, the biosensors that nanomachinery synthetic biology has built within you, depending on what type of plane it is, and a lot of things that I wouldn't really know because I'm not a human trafficker. Fake dossiers are spread in the community about you, that you're a pedophile, you're an arsonist, that you're a schizo. Those all have been personally used on me and a variety of others. These DHS Fusion Center employees will literally go around with these dossiers, and FBI, go around with these dossiers. They're totally fake about you. It's called parallel construction. They'll use a little bit of real and make a lot of fake out of it. And so, if you have young children in your life, that's enough for you to be a pedophile. If you were a wildland firefighter like I was, that's enough for you to be an arsonist. If you freaked out when this was all happening to you, you're not, that's enough for you to be a schizo, so forth. And in the middle stages, there is a very, very strong effort to isolate you from your friends and family. So that way they can take the experimentation to the next step, the human trafficking to the next step. Because that's what this is. This is human trafficking. So they're going to be looking for outcomes as far as they can go, all the way to organ trafficking. And that's when the extracurricular activities begin, like I just said. They're going to try to take this as far as it can go. I've heard of targets. I've heard this very common for women to be raped over and over during break-ins after being drugged. Okay, and I've heard that a lot, and I've heard that over a long time. So what are they really doing there? They are selling access to women's body while they're being experimented neuroweapons, tortured, and then when they're done, well, who knows? Who knows what they'll do? Nanobots are heavily sprayed into your environment, and again, nanobots are used for a variety of things, but they crawl into your body, and they can create a variety of chronic inflammation. People that have Morgellons really just have synthetic biology and nanobots. Okay, almost every targeted individual has synthetic biology nanomachinery growing in them, which is the actual Morgellons. And when I say actual, I mean the thing that's actually growing out of people's skin, the thing that's actually creating these biofilms and bioplaques. And the nanobots are an extra addition to that to make it extra effective. Late stages, attempts on your life begin. They try to cut off all money sources. Air pollutants become unbearable. You'll start literally having problems breathing. Sleep is always interrupted. They want to break down your sleeping habits, keep you from sleeping as much as possible. That's to induce psychosis. Your car, your transportation is sabotaged. They don't want you leaving their little kill grid that they've set up with the neighbors and the drones and the directed energy weapons and the air pollutants. They want to keep you in that space. The goal is to keep you in place and torture you to death until you develop cancer or a clot or something like that, chronic inflammation of some sort, and die. That's the late experiment that will be going on. An experiment, I'm using that term very loosely, okay? Extracurricular activities become the focus of human traffickers, meaning they're going to try to extract as much wealth as they can from you, their slave, right? And that's the way they view you, is less than a historical slave as chattel, which is actually a historical slave, right? Chattel slavery. It's that's the way they view you. If they even think about you at all, a lot of them are suicidal and they try not to think at all. All right, with your friends and family, as the targeting progresses, all friends and family are fair gamed with one rule: plausible deniability, meaning they'll try to do anything to them for any reason to affect you or to affect their bottom dollar. Some are assaulted with the same directed energy weapon, heavy metal, synthetic biology weapon systems that you have been, but at undetectable levels and intermittently. And again, that's for the same reason as the first one, fair gamed, which is actually a Scientology term, but Scientologists are a part of this, believe it or not. That's a CIA cutout. That's a longer story. Don't need to get into right now. Family members that are stopping the effectiveness of the human trafficking efforts are attempted to be neutralized, however that is. Killed, maimed, businesses attacked, financially attacked. There'll be honeypots will be used on them. However that goes. Their network is infiltrated by the citizen informant network and human traffickers, fake friends operating as handlers, meaning that your friends and family will be attacked with these people. The actual human traffickers will try to become friends with your friends and family as much as they can get away with. They will try to get as close to the situation as they can, and then they will expose themselves, and then they will be scared. That's how that always goes. And when they're scared, they do stupid crap. They're always doing this, right? They get too close because they're getting paid. They get so addicted to that Fed money and all that crypto that they're getting paid in that they try to get as close to you and your networks as possible. And then they get caught and they get scared and they do crazy things. They lash out in crazy ways on your friends and family. Just keep an eye on this. They are honeypotted with professional prostitutes and or citizen informants. This is very, very common. Professional prostitutes will be on the FBI's payroll under contractors, and they'll actually be more or less loaned out to FBI contractors for their services until they're deployed on a targeted individual or a targeted individual's friends and families. Professionally, the professionals will poison the target, whether that's a friend and family or the survivor, with heavy metal synthetic biology, and they'll do that through sexual acts, and they'll use children if they need to. It's very common, unfortunately. These prostitutes, men and women, will do anything for money, and there are plenty of men. They don't think of themselves as prostitutes or honeypots, but they definitely 100% are. They think of themselves as agents. Same with the women, but they are not. They are not agents. They are prostitutes. However else they frame that up. It's absolutely disgusting. It's one of the lowest things about this whole thing, that they will sell their own children into this, whether they know it or not. So who are the various workers of these human trafficking operations? There are the human trafficking contractors. So these people are the ones that have the contract to kill, maim, experiment on you. There are 5 to 25 members. I put a question mark there because who knows, right? It could be more, it could be less. Depends on the operation that they currently got ongoing on you. Say if you're like Nicholas Cruz in the Parkland shooting, they probably had 100, 200 people deployed on him before that whole fake Parkland shooting thing went off. I mean, people really got shot at that, but Nicholas Cruz really did not do that. He was really made to believe with Neuroweapons and these handlers that he was a part of, that he did it, but he didn't do it. And just look at the tapes of when he got arrested. He'll be talking about how he had the devil's voice in him, right? That's gang stalking, targeted survivors 101. The citizen informants involved, right? So it depends how many of them are going to be in on it. I don't know what I meant by that. There is a degree, right, of like sometimes these citizen informants are human traffickers, and sometimes they're more on the citizen informant level. That's totally dependent. There's a gray area there on the person himself and their level of involvement. Military, security apparatus backgrounds and connections. A lot of times they're one percenter bikers, which is just a criminal gang. They're also a lot of times they are prison gangs. They have connections with Freemasons, and sometimes they're actually brought in here from other countries, like the Mexican Mafia is very much involved in this. There are Venezuelan gangs, Cuban gangs, and I'm sure many Chinese gangs, although the Chinese thing is kind of different. They are quite a bit higher in all this. They're higher than the bikers, and yeah, that's a kind of a different conversation. They receive money and benefits from federal, state, county, city, and members of the citizen informant networks. It's a big club and you aren't in it. They get money to these people 100,000 different ways, from gift cards to free services like having a contractor rebuild your house, or even having part of their mortgage paid, or having, say, food stamps that are, like $500 a month. I don't know. It's all dependent on what they can get away with at any given time and who they have in place to get away with it at the government level. So they work in cutouts. They work in local security companies made to look legit. This is on average. They do many things. Sometimes they work for what appears to be moving companies, or companies that provide a specific a part to a specific machine. Like it could be literally anything, but they work in these cutouts, right? And so they get paid through the cutouts, like the cutout. Let's say it's a painting service. The cutout will be contracted through another cutout, most likely of an FBI operation, and that cutout, let's say they're a wine store, will pay this paint store to paint, but there will never be any painters there. Or if they are, they will only be there an hour a day. They'll get paid for, let's say, the whole week, something like that, for a full time. That's how these people get paid, right? And meanwhile, all of the cutouts are getting money through money laundering operations, mostly focused through crypto. Okay, so local law enforcement moonlights for a second paycheck in these security companies. The security companies are the most obvious one, though. So they do run the security companies, but they try to diversify. But the local law enforcement will be employed there often. They're often drug and alcohol addicts. Around here, it's fentanyl, meth, uh, just about everything, actually. I'm around Portland, Oregon. That's why it's really bad, the drug problem here. But it is all across the United States, probably all across the world that this is happening, because it goes hand in hand, right? Drug trafficking, money laundering, human trafficking are all these sisters to the same, let's say, mother, father, I don't know. They get paid to move in around a targeted survivor. The one percenters, the Freemasons, the actual contractors, they're often pedophiles because they are specifically created, groomed, and recruited for operations. Okay, so they are groomed into becoming pedophiles. If you have sex with this child, things open up in your life. That's what they're told. Or they're found in prison. That's pretty often too. And oh, in the Freemason families, they're often uh, victims of pedophilia themselves. And so they make great pedophiles, right? Victims of pedophiles make great pedophiles. That's the way it works. I'm not saying if you're a victim of that you are. That's definitely not the case. I'm just saying that's often what's looked for when they're being created and groomed in this human trafficking contractor situation. So the cutouts, local security companies, their public justification for targeting is practically non-existent. It's illegal, and they would get caught if we had any sort of fairness in the legal system. There is some legality contained within the Patriot Act laws, the 702 section of the FISA, but that's all very, very questionable. And if you expound on everything that these cutouts, the local security companies are doing, it's 100% illegal. And eventually there will be a time when all of them will run for the hills, because what they've done here is beyond the pale. They've murdered many, many people. They've raped. They've hurt many children, done pedophile stuff, many children. It's very, very bad. It's much, much worse than operating the directed energy weapons, although the torture is a big part of it. That's how they get their daily bread. Information is shared through fusion centers and special access programs, colloquially called the Signature Reduction Force, colloquially called the Signature Reduction Force. That's just something that was in the media, and it's right there in the name a few years ago. Signature Reduction Force. So this is all off the books because it's all illegal. There they are. They're telling you themselves what they're doing is illegal. Come, please stop us. We need your help to stop us. And they very much do. It's gone completely out of control. Not that it was ever in control. So what do they get paid for? They get paid for neuroscience research, corporate research, societal engineering. They get paid to house foreign intelligence. Yes, they literally are traitors. They literally are bringing in foreign intelligence, Israelis, Cubans, Chinese, Venezuelans. I know for sure they're doing this with. I'm sure there's many other places from Africa, stuff like that, South America, Brazilian. They are literally housing them. Those people are literally engaged in acts of literal, what's the right term for it? Subterfuge, sabotage of our infrastructure, of our food supply. It just goes on and on and on. They are literally doing this. This is what the literal local security companies involved in human trafficking are doing. I cannot stress this enough. This is literally treason. This, in any other era of, besides the last 30, 40 years, whatever, they would be hanged. If this was found out, and they still might be, I don't know. I'm not their judge, and I pity. I have pity in my heart for the time that comes about when this happens, because it is going to be brutal. These people have done so many crimes against their country, and it's not just this country. This is exported. The United States of America exports this all around the world, and these people end up doing this all around the world. So there are crimes to be that are being had by American nationals doing this, and foreigners they bring into these other places, in diverse places as Argentina and Poland, Lithuania, name the place, right? And then in those places, that's how they recruit. Let's say they get a Lithuanian, and then they migrate them to, say, a place that's in the NATO apparatus, like Great Britain. And then those Lithuanians are doing stuff there, right? So that's how this whole works. It's a big club, and you aren't in it. They really are It really is the New World Order, or whatever you want to call it, and this is really how it's being facilitated. They do extracurricular crimes they get paid for, like allowing neuroweapons, human traffic people to be raped, stuff like that. And then they do assassinations. They literally kill and maim celebrities, politicians, targeted individuals, so forth, so forth, so forth. So they get paid for doing all those things. They get paid for doing a lot more other things too that I'm not even, regular security company stuff that I'm not even going to mention covering. All right, how do these citizen informants work? This is just roughly talking. They belong to a parallel society. It's a big club and you aren't in it. They have duplicitous lives, the ones they present to the public and the ones they have in private. And a lot of times the ones they have in private are even split, like a schizophrenic would, or not a schizophrenic, a dissociative identity disorder person would. They have sometimes their personal their immediate family doesn't even know what they're doing, so they even present a different side to them. So duplicitous, that's two. That could be wrong, could be three, could be four sides they're presenting to different people. It's a very, very bad way to live. Are organized through public and private communication networks, meaning they use the fusion centers and all that type of thing, community watch, but they also use private browsers, private programs to distribute information. That's that signature reduction force. And they do a lot of this in person. They also do a lot of it over the ham radio network. So there's a lot of different communication networks there. Sociopathic and narcissistic traits are selected for by federal agencies when permissions are first given. This is for regular people when they become citizen informants. They're looking for basically crazy people. Crazy people that will do anything to be part of the club, to get a little bit of money, to do anything for themselves, right? So that's the tendencies they value. They get free services from InfraGard companies, corporations, and other citizen informants. I covered that a little bit before. They receive benefits from federal, state, county, and city that they otherwise wouldn't or shouldn't. And that's another conversation about what these benefits really are. Entrapment, but that's what they get. Parole programs are used to recruit pedophiles and violent criminals. They'll let them out early as long as they're part of these programs. Facilitate corruption, they'll use it, that's how they use it at the city, county, state level. They'll get people on the payroll and then they'll be like, well, we can frame you. We can frame you as a pedophile. We can just tell what you've been doing. We can show people what you've been doing. Do you want that? Or would you rather just, make sure that you don't report these Cuban nationals that are hiding in this trap house, And that's how foreign intelligence is harbored here, and no one seems to care or stop it. And sex trafficking. Sex trafficking is a big thing, right? Prostitutes, they are used, and that's why the FBI keeps these people on payroll as contractors to blackmail people. It's there's like a little mini Epstein thing happening in every county of the United States of America, and sometimes it's not many. Here in Vancouver, Washington, Clark County, there's a very big operation going on right now. The school districts are involved. Geez, everyone's involved. The county level, the sheriff, the lawyers down at the bar association, the judge. Well, not all the judges, but the judicial system is very much involved. The probation system, and I'm talking about this. I know about this firsthand. These groups are involved. Okay, there are finders everywhere, and these finders are always finding victims and they're finding perpetrators and they're connecting them to for blackmail purposes to facilitate this corruption, right? So what starts with targeted individuals ends up taking the whole nation down, and that's what's going on right now. That's how our country is being destroyed from the inside out by these foreign operators, because no one can stop them. The people that can stop them are all blackmailed or they're a part of it. It's pretty much as simple as that. They're often blackmailed. Then they receive large payouts when they're the key part of an operation against someone. So if they poison someone, get a few $100s. They cause a car accident that maims somebody, get a few $1,000s. Do a violent assault that kills somebody or a car accident kills somebody, well, now you're talking. That's a lot of money. And especially if they can walk away without getting charged from it, which sometimes they can. Not all the time, sometimes. Foreign countries. NATO, Russia, and China are all involved. They're all working together. This idea that that these are separate entities is only for the rubes and the sheep. Okay, if you travel as a targeted survivor, you'll recognize this is true. If you're a regular person, just look what's going on with Operation Fox Hunt. All right, how are all these Chinese intelligence officers being harbored in all these different places throughout the country and Canada? And this is happening all across Europe too. And not only that, all across NATO. Not only that, but why are there always a Chinese mistress attached to these politicians? Okay, they're honeypots. They're there for a reason, for blackmail, for all that thing I was talking about. It's to facilitate this new world order. NATO, Russia, and China, those apparatuses, which are three distinct apparatuses, or should be, or are determined to be by by betters at universities, the political scientists and whatnot, it's not true. It's not true. At the highest levels, they're all intermarried, they're all cousins, they're all dual, triple, quad nationals, and Israel's got a big part to do with that. NATO exports FBI contractors around the world to infiltrate other country societies and set up human trafficking, citizen informant crime rings, usually through the military and other cutouts. I've seen this personally in Brazil, so I'm not just saying this. I've seen it personally in Costa Rica. I'm not just saying this. I've seen this personally in Mexico. Not just saying this, okay? China exports its citizens to establish primary connections instead of infiltration. Now, they do both. I don't know why I said instead of, because I should have said they do both. In a place like Bolivia, they send waves of Chinese people. And they just started doing that in Nicaragua when I was there. But in Bolivia, they send waves of Chinese people. These Chinese people build a parallel society. And in that parallel society, they're all connected to the CCP. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. And they're connected because they still have family back home. And that family can be impressed upon to the now ex-Chinese, but are really still connected, to do what they want, the Chinese government, the CCP. I should have put the CCP here because the CCP and China are actually two different things. The CCP has only been around for 70 years, and they are probably one of the worst, maybe the second worst government the world's ever seen, the first being the Soviets. And that's debatable, right? And the third being the Nazi Germany. China exports, and they do infiltrate Western society like I covered before. Russia, in particular, exports criminal gangs. Now, this is what they do a lot of. America does this too in the form of bikers. So I said that. With military backgrounds similar to Freemason biker gangs here in the USA. I put a question mark there because I haven't been to Central Asia where the Russian influence is much stronger. I haven't been to the Middle East where the Russian influence is much stronger, in Africa, parts of Africa where it is. So I don't know this particularly. This is just what I saw in Mexico. Mexico is a Russian mafia. They were connected through is the Jewish mafia, which is really and always has been, well, in recent era, connected to the Israeli government and the American government. Israelis coordinate and direct the three groups, all right? So the Israelis are in between of all three groups, and they position themselves over all three groups, but they really aren't. They're just another layer of lapdogs for the Switzerland, Northern Italy, Club of Rome, Council of 300, whatever, World Economic Forum people that run all of them, which is to say the corporate families, which is to say the old world nobility. Okay, I know that's a lot of information, but it is what it is. You can verify all this yourself or go back through the channel, I don't care. Israelis are the vanguard of human trafficking, neuro-human trafficking. Birthright Israelis are always dual national and sometimes trinational. That's why. It's got very little to do with Judaism. There is a factor with the secret society element, but that's it. Outside of Israel, the real thing, the most important thing, is the dual and trinational status. Israelis can get to places where regular spooks cannot. They also are the most mind-controlled population on Earth. They are doo-doo dumb. I don't know how else to say it, but they've smelled their own farts for too long, and they really think that they are the chosen people. It's insane. And I don't mean chosen in Judaism. I mean they really think they are better than most people on Earth, if not all people on Earth. They have mandatory IDF conscription, or they have a choice to do spy service, go to these foreign countries and do 2 to 4 years. Oftentimes, the people involved in the human trafficking, the neuroweapons human trafficking, the Israelis, they'll do their conscription and then they'll do their spy service, right? And it's because they get paid so well to be a part of these cutouts that are ran by Unit 8200 and Mossad. I met lots and lots of these people. They come in a few different shades, but not that many. They're all pretty brainwashed. They're all pretty desperate. They're mostly from Eastern Europe, Ukraine, Poland, Lithuania. Some are from Western Europe, Southern Europe, but mostly from Eastern and Southeastern Europe. They are given lots of hallucinogenic substances regularly. That's like their version of fentanyl. They're always taking acid or some derivative of it, or some mushrooms, that type of thing. That's why they got that fake spirituality thing where they all look like hippies. If you look into this, you'll figure it out yourself. And they have satellite stations all around the world. Guatemala, Costa Rica, huge places for them. Probably Honduras too, I don't know. I know Mexico City is a huge place for them. I know this area here, Portland, is actually a pretty big place for them. But you get it. They've got little enclaves that's more or less kept secret from everyone else, hidden all around the world. And I think of them as a death cult. The informed ones literally believe that they will conquer the world or destroy it, and they believe in a prophecy, the prophecy of Daniel, but their version of it. It's the same one that's Daniel in the Bible, but they've got their own take on it. And if you look at the global alliances of Israel, basically they're best friends with China, they're best friends with India, and they're best friends with the United States, it undermines the World War III narrative of China and United States being diametrically opposed. It's all going through these dual trinationals through Israel, whatever. Where does the money come from? The money comes from targeting from central bankers that are in Switzerland, but all around the world now. The families that run most corporations are the same ones that run the central banks. They were monarchs 150 years ago. They have created this plan. It's part of their religion, but it's a global project to develop the ability to remotely kill and control people in mass using AI. The global effort to redefine the economy with brain-to-computer infrastructure, that's what the fourth industrial revolution really is. And that's what Build Back Better, Great Reset. Okay, now the ultimate goal is depopulation, 13 out of 14 people, and that's really what Agenda 2030 is. The targeting program is rising technocracy. The blacklisting and publicly torturing a citizen for no apparent reason while society looks away and actively profits from it is a huge goal of theirs. If they can get everybody on board with this, they're set, right? And that's what the targeting program really is. Through blackmail, through giving money, all these different avenues, they want people just to turn their heads, as people like myself, who have been in this program now for 10 years, are called crazy and killed, right? So we're called crazy up until the day that we're proven right, which is the day that we're dead, right? That's how they want this to roll out. And then on that day, everyone goes, well, that's how it goes, right? You got to crack a few eggs. The new policing model will facilitate a never-ending war on undesirables. And who's an undesirable? Well, useless leaders are undesirables. So if it's not you today, it'll be you tomorrow. NATO and Russian Soviet apparatuses have been developing these technologies and control methods since World War II. China has been involved since the late 70s. So China becoming a big part of this isn't new by any means. China is the forefront of this. They're rolling this out in China more than any other place in the world. And there's a specific reason for that. It's because the Chinese government the CCP is so evil that they can get away with things they can never get away with in places like United States of America or Canada openly. Now they still get away with the same things, but they have to do it covertly here. Okay, they can get away with it openly there. That's the key part. So the legacy of the targeting program, just to keep this real short, the Soviets developed Nazi weapon systems under the Stasi policing model in East Germany, but also all throughout the Soviet apparatus. NATO developed, at the same time, Nazi weapon systems through COINTELPRO. FBI and CIA were a big part of it. That's why to this day the FBI is the biggest part of it. The research of NATO and the Soviets have combined in the targeting program, most obviously seen in China. That's where all the research came together, and that's where the research is being furthered the quickest, is in China. China has become the major pilot program for this new system of governance. It's also the new type of war. It's not just governance, it's policing and war. It's all of it wrapped into one. Because in the future, when there's one world government, there's not going to be any more wars, right? So how are they going to facilitate this huge or keep this huge security apparatus online? They're going to have to commit a never-ending war against the population, domestic population, against undesirables in this way. That's what the targeting program really is at its core, and also the depopulation. And the brain to computer, it's all part of it. Multinationals share the data between the apparatuses, usually Israeli, because the Israelis, remember, they have access. They get into all these corporate positions, all these federal positions here in the United States, or in China, or in Russia, or wherever, really, India. There's a lot of dual nationals, and they spread the information amongst themselves, or amongst their group, to these other, so allegedly separate nations, which are being controlled at the highest levels by the same people. All right, so how to make a targeted survivor. 1. Synthetic biology Morgellons infection through many possible vectors. Food, insects, bites, sex. At maturation, the synthetic biology grows crystalline lattice networks of biofilm full of nanosensors and arrays in most areas of the body. That is the most crucial thing. I could have also put implants here. I should have put implants here. People are heavily implanted at that first step, right? Or however early they can get the implants in. The implants help the synthetic biology, and sometimes they are to have their own separate system. But the synthetic biology Morgellons, the nanomachinery, it's still crucial. It's still the most foundational thing in a targeted individual's body. This is the filaments growing out of a toenail associated with synthetic biology. This is a zoomed up in it. That's even farther zoomed in it. And that's one, you see that one dot there in the middle, right? That white dot. That's the lowest, smallest form of it. So yes, this can be aerosolized. That's one of the forms of smart dust. And there it is again. I think that's in the blood. And there's infected blood cells. Just to give you an idea, this is very, very real. Most of the population is infected with it through chemtrails and the corporate food supply. But targeted individuals have the extra layer. They are inundated with it. Graphene oxide structures that we just saw. The Morgellons produces many different structures. I could have put synthetic biology. I could have put nanomachinery instead of Morgellons. Produce biofilms, fungus, filaments, and many other nanostructures. It cannot be classified as bacteria, archaea, or eukarya. That's the 3 forms of life. Because it's man-made. It's a Russian doll. It's got many, many layers of man-made bullcrap in it. Those are the 3 forms of life that we will see outside of a lab in nature. And again, this nanomachinery doesn't fit into any one of them because it's not any one of them. It's man-made. This is the crust, the bio film I keep talking about. It's really a polymer, but it lets bacteria grow in it, I guess would be the right way to say that. It facilitates bacterial growth inside of it. So it becomes a bioplaque, but it really is a bioplaque polymer. Right, that's it wound up. That forms on the inside and the outside of your body. Inside of that growth is the nanomachinery. The nanomachinery will later be distributed throughout your body. This is it growing quickly. Okay, this is just it over a few hours. You can see there at the bottom 11:03, 11:15, 11:27, 11:40, 11:52, 12:04, 12:16. And you see it? Growing filaments. This is happening in your body. All right? This is happening in most people's body, but people that are targeted, it is growing much, much faster. So you always need to be detoxing. Okay, that was over, we're only at 4 or 5 hours. I think this all, depending on how bad you've got it, it's probably a tablespoon to a quarter teaspoon a day of growth. But that's a lot over a week, you know? It's a lot of growth, and I'll explain why. All right, so two, the food is poisoned at retailers, distributors, suppliers, manufacturers, and during break-ins with synthetic heavy metals and synthetic biology filaments. So that's all to help grow this growing in your body. All right, that's why the heavy metal you're so inundated with heavy metals. It's because they need that to grow as quick as possible to make you into the best slave possible. The appeal, that's that Bill Gates food. It's got the heavy metals in it. It might even have synthetic biology in it. It's not just appeal. There's many other waxes and stuff like that that will be sprayed onto foods. Many other particulates that will be sprayed onto foods that have the same thing. I just put appeal on there because people are becoming wise to it because it's a Bill Gates corporation. But there's many more than just appeal being sprayed onto your food. It's most food. Well, I can't say most. It depends on the area you're at, but it's a lot of food is tampered with. So try to get your food from farmers. Yep. My experience in Portland, Oregon, USA. I'm actually in Vancouver, Washington, right across the bridge, but just north of there. Heavy metals and synthetic heavy metals entered the food supply in a plurality. That means a large minority, sometime between August 2022 and November 2022. The particulates entered the food supply at manufacturing, distribution, and realtors. I've tested this myself. It's too long of a story to go over right now, but almost positive that is the case. Not 100%, but about 90, whatever percent that this is. It's all three of those. Foreign intelligence, Israeli, Chinese, Venezuelan, and Cuban, and domestic contractors associated with human trafficking rings, so associated with targeted individuals, are being directed to poison key foodstuffs by multinational traders in the security apparatus, so the FBI. The FBI is directing these foreign intelligence to poison the food supply, all right? And by FBI, I mean FBI contractors, because of course, the people that actually run the FBI to this day are going to be contractors and directors. And the directors will never, ever speak about any of this stuff. And the contractors are kept as much off the books as possible. That's why they're contractors. There's also been fires of food processing plants, like the chicken plants. We've seen a lot of that. And destruction of transportation infrastructure, like the bridges and whatnot. They're also being directed by traders within the security apparatus. That's why they're doing it. They're bottlenecking the food supply on purpose. 3, the water is being tampered with by city workers, citizen informants, or during break-ins to contain synthetic heavy metal particulates. This goes to the first and the second. If you'll see that city workers are often checking your water main or your neighbor's water main. I don't know exactly the technical how they're doing that, but I do know that the water is being tampered. And I think now, after COVID, just about every city's water supply is got crap in it. All right, this is just from my personal experience in using water in various places. They were unconnected to me. 4, human traffickers and citizen informants release synthetic heavy metal and synthetic biology particulates into the breezeways around your house. This is a big thing. They release particulate. The particulate is driven into your airways using various weapon systems, and a lot of times it doesn't even need to be, right? Because it's just everywhere you're breathing it. And then they'll use chemtrailing also to facilitate that. So they're releasing this particulate, you're breathing it, it's also being chemtrailed on you. That's why as a target survivor, you look around, there's always chemtrails following you, right? Whenever you're at some place for a while. The air particulate attacks, they work a certain way. The particulate attacks are emitted from sewer systems, car exhaust, chimneys, household dryers, smokers, etc. Anywhere that they can heat something else up and project it, like say a car engine, or I don't know. There's just a lot of different ways they do that. Once the magnetic particulate is emitted into the air, it can be potentially directed with masers, acoustic weapons, other directed energy weapons. All right, the capacity for control of breezeways, so their ability to force this particulate into your proximity is directly relatable to the amount of chemtrailing above you. It's got to do with ELF, extremely low frequencies, and pressure systems, how they can keep everything contained around you. The chemtrailing is a big part of that. So right there, now you know for sure that this is not just some criminal gang. This is definitely federal military involvement. In case it wasn't obvious to you, it should be. Breathing chemtrailed air while synthetic biology, Morgellons, is in the body and directed energy weapons are polarizing. Your body can create dramatic effects on consciousness. So that's how they're doing this. You breathe the chemtrailed air, so the particulate, the heavy metal particulate, you've got synthetic biology creating pathways of polarization throughout your body. And then the directed energy weapons are triggered at the same time. That's where you get the crazy effects of like falling over, or like the headaches where you can't walk, the very bad blurred speech, confusion, muscle spasms, aggravation, and so forth. Okay, so I made this nice little picture to show you kind of how it will work. The survivor is the red circle in the middle. The yellow circle is the particulate that's being emitted from human trafficker or citizen, that gray area. But those people are emitting the particulate. Drones, the wind pattern will, on average day, will be the blue lines. Right, this is just average speaking, right? And the car route that the citizen informants with more particulate in their gas tanks that gets burnt through their engine and comes out will be taking the red line around you. So you get these big waves of particulate that move through your environment. Did I put that? Oh, and then there's the white line is the drone flight path. And if you take a notice, the drones will have a flight path they'll more or less hold the majority of time. What they're doing is they're more or less a backstop for the particulate, trying to keep it into this area, right? And they're also chemtrailing for the same reason. Okay, I just went ahead, I put the stars there for the citizen informants so you could see that they're positioned all around you, right? And all these people are getting paid on some level, right? And then you can see like there's a human trafficker that is farther away, that five-sided shape, polygon, whatever, whatever gon it is. The that shape way over there by the red lines that cross, they're facilitating the cars. So they're making sure the right citizen informants are coming through at the right time, right? And maybe this other one down there at the bottom right-hand corner, the other human trafficker, is operating drones. Right? I wouldn't know exactly. Oh, and also the people that are nearest to you are pouring stuff into the sewer so that when you use your water system, water goes down, chemtrail particulate or chemical particulate comes up. Right? So all those things are happening more or less simultaneously to create the most dramatic, damaging effect to you, to make the directed energy weapons as effective as possible, and to grow the synthetic biology Morgellons nanomachinery as densely as possible within your body, and to kill you, right? To torture and kill you. So all ingested synthetic heavy metals and heavy metal particulate are pulled by directed energy weapons that polarize the body to deposit the particulate material into the critical areas of the body and brain. There is a directed energy weapon they use. I don't know what spectrum it is. Maybe it's, I don't know. I'm not even going to guess. But it works like a pump. It helps, it takes the particulate that you're breathing in that's going through the blood supply, and it pulls that nano size, or maybe even a little bit bigger, into various areas of your body. Your back, your knees, your joints very commonly, your eyes, your nose, wherever, whatever they're trying to polarize, they're trying to create a pathway of polarization. That'll make more sense in a second. But whatever they're trying to do, and wherever they deposit that heavy metals, that small particulate, that very fine particulate, that's where synthetic biology, nanomachinery grows the fastest, because it has all the material needed to grow. So the piezoelectric and crystalline structures in the biofilm, that's the nanomachinery I was just talking about, it grows in pockets of inflammation. The inflammation is induced with the directed energy weapons and the small particulate. The pockets form tumors. The tumors form turbocancers if left unchecked. That changes the shape of your face and body. That will swell the lymphatic system and the fascia, the connective tissue of the body. It changes good posture into bad posture for the reason I just listed. It changes the connective tissue. It can be accessed to create never-ending muscle spasms. That's how that's being done. And it has to be there to create an increased voltage that can be perceived for torture reasons. Okay, so to create this electrocution effect that many targeted individuals, survivors complain about, there has to be a long run of this crystalline lattice structure, these piezoelectric structures. And for this long run, and I don't mean actually very that long, I just mean for nano size is pretty long, so that there can be a charge differential created, a positive side and a negative side. And it's through that charge differential, that's how that capacitance, that's how that voltage is induced into you. And these biostructures, this nanomachinery forms wires for this to move along. 6, pathways of polarization are created throughout the body, the body and brain, along with synthetic biology crystalline structures that can be linked together, that can now be piezoelectrically stimulated by directed energy weapons, sound, light, and frequency. That's what I was saying. The whole spectrum has been weaponized. People, they want to get into various weapon systems that are being used. Yes, there is millimeter wave is definitely being used. 4G, 5G, 3G, 2G, whatever, it's all being used. Radio waves, yes, being used. But the better thing to think about is whatever spectrum they can aim at you to facilitate this process, they're going to do it, right? And it's all going to have a little bit different effect, but foundationally, the same thing is going to be happening, right? And yes, there is a difference with implants. Implants can have a more specific effect for a more specific outcome. And I wouldn't know particularly what implant program any one person would be under, right? But generally speaking, even those people have this going on, right? And if you deal with this, the pathways of polarization, you get rid of this nanomachinery in you, everything will be better, right? And I can't specifically say to you personally, but I do know that this is foundationally what's going on. All right, so this is the pathways of polarization I was talking about. The red lines are the pathways. The red circles are the clumping of synthetic biology nanomachinery. The blue circles are unmediated effects. So you might notice that your right arm gets really cold, your right shoulder, stuff like that. It's hard to describe, but all the different effects that you'll notice, the unmediated ones. But the mediated effects are what we're after. The red circle there in the middle is your organ sac. That's where the synthetic biology nanomachinery parasites your body the most. That's where there's the quickest growing synthetic biology is in the body at any given time because of ingestion or because of breathing and because of digestion, really. Okay, so what they want to do is they want to create a chain of these synthetic biology polymers, and they want to run it for as long as your body, from the very top of your head to the very bottom of your foot, so that they can create the greatest voltage differential. Now, every person could be a little bit different, where the inflammation, where the easiest parts of their body is to be weaponized against them, that's where your inflammation is. Every person's got a little bit different inflammation, so these runs could be anywhere. This is generally what they're after, though. So the EMF converged with dielectric capacity creates electricity. External magnetic field is what EMF is. Converges with the dielectric capacity that synthetic biology contains, creates the electricity runs that you feel in your body. Electricity is made of two parts, dielectricism and magnetic fields. Magnetic fields go out, dielectricity is contained within, right? So like a wire, it's not just, the wire is not just the current flowing through it, that's the dielectric capacity. It also produces an EMF around it. Okay, so those two things together make electricity. I've got a video of this on the channel. It's called dielectricism. It's got a yin and yang symbol on it. It overcomes forces of nature, overcome transhumanism, something like that. Just look through the channel, you'll see it. It's very informative how electricity actually is transmitted, or it works beyond being targeted. So the synthetic biology creates artificial nervous system like wires running through your house. It's like wires running through your house, this synthetic biology. this artificial nervous system. The external magnetic fields that are created by the particulate that's all around you, that's creating a magnetic field. The, what else? The directed energy weapons, obviously, those two, they become internal unregulated voltage in those artificial nervous systems. And then that voltage is directed to the brain and body to foster disease. I said it should have said voltage and current because there is a current there too. But really they're after a higher voltage just because they can't produce a high current. It's very, very hard to produce a high current. So the higher the voltage is really what they're going for. But I don't know what the future has to show. So this is how it works, just electromagnetic induction. This is what's happening over your body, more or less. The magnet you see there with the rotating shaft, that would be the air particulate and the directed energy weapons. The coil would be the synthetic biology underneath your skin, and that would induce electricity and an EMF within your body, right? So I just wanted to show you this is a common small electronics concept, but now we're talking about biology, synthetic biology and your biology and these weapon systems. Okay, so I went ahead and I just showed that gaseous cloud there with the death symbol. That's the air particulate. That's charging this whole system. That's what that is showing. So 7, inflammation is directed using directed energy weapons, software programs like AI, and personnel for specific outcomes at specific intervals. Nanosensors built by synthetic biology inform AI machine learning of your status. So software programs like the ones that Palantir develop and various directed energy weapon systems and the personnel are creating specific outcomes to make you do specific things. That's the idea anyways. Again, sometimes they're sexual, sometimes they're violent, sometimes they're to take land, sometimes whatever. They're a whole bunch of different things. But that's more or less, it's mind control. It's mind control, and it's more or less what they're after, right? And to automate the system. So the instigations and aggravations are a big part of this in targeted individual community. We call that gang stalking. It's really counterintelligence programs. The citizen informants are deployed to instigate staged occurrences at the grocery store, the gas pump, near a target's house, and everyday locations. Wherever they can get you, they're going to try to get you for whatever reason. Again, these mind control outcomes. Brain inflammation is directed to crucial areas in the body and brain during staged, I should have said inflammation is directed to crucial areas of the brain and body during these staged occurrences, but especially the brain. If they can make you confused and give you a headache as somebody comes by, and instigates you by throwing something at you, per se, that's happened to me. Spitting on you, that's happened to me. Screaming at you for no reason, that's happened to me. That's pretty common, actually. Stuff with their cars, that's really, really common. Honking, pretending they're going to hit you as you're walking down the street, that type of thing. If they can facilitate this brain inflammation at the same time, that's all the better, right? That's the end goal, is to get you to throw something at that car or to just do anything that would be deemed crazy, anything that would be deemed irrational. So intense headaches and brain fog make it hard for the target to accurately perceive what is happening around them. So anytime these instigations are happening, these street theater, these gang stalking operations, these counterintelligence programs, just take note of how you're thinking, your capacity for rational thinking has decreased, and the heat that is residing in different areas of the body. The primary goals are learning how to make a target insane and an unwilling patsy. Secondary goals are to keep a target survivor isolated and paranoid that non-involved people are part of the operations. That should be obvious, right? So they'll pick strangers, and they'll inflame your brain during these times that strangers are walking by your house, per se, or that strangers are walking by you at the grocery store. They have nothing to do with anything, but it's to confuse you so you don't know who is and who isn't part of these citizen informant networks. Many targets are driven to commit crimes of violence against citizen informants and not the human traffickers that organize them. I'm not saying that you should be committing violence at all. I'm just saying if you're going to, at least aim for the people that are utilizing the weapon systems on you. But again, I'm not saying to do that. That's not what I'm saying to do. I'm just saying that a lot of the times these patsy operations are successful and they get you to lash out at one of their extremely low level neighborhood watch people that they want you to lash out on. They're like the worms, you're like the fish, and they're like the hook, right? So it's best just to not to engage in any of it. It's best not to be violent. It's best not to just acknowledge it's there. Don't ignore it completely. Acknowledge it's there. It's dangerous for you to ignore it completely. Acknowledge it's there, and then you know just side eye it. Just side eye it. That's happening. That's what's going on. Don't need to have any more involvement in it. And if you know for sure that it's just to get you into one of these outcomes, one of these stupid outcomes, it's not actually dangerous to you, ignore it completely. So how are the human trafficking contractors breaking in? This is a big part of what they're doing. Poison your stuff, ruin your stuff, putting cameras and mics, whatever. How are they doing it? Well, invisibility cloaks. This is just a Yandex search of invisibility cloaks, just to show you that not only they're here, it's here, we're here, right? So I just put a few screenshots. I didn't even bother doing research. You can do your own research. Invisibility cloaks are not just possible, they're becoming reality because they are how invisibility cloaks work. How to make an invisibility cloak. Real life invisibility cloaks are already here. TED Talks, excuse me, there are so many TED Talks about this. Invisibility cloaks, metamaterial crystals, and plasma sheaths. Invisibility cloaks that could hide tanks and troops. China unveils world's first invisibility cloak. Invisibility cloaks shield the large and visible. They've been around for a very long time. They've been around since the 80s. That's the first time I've heard of them being utilized on people. The NSA was breaking into people's houses, making them think there was ghosts, that type of thing. Oh, geez, I can't even source that right now. But it was a guy in the UFO community that had this happen to him. And yeah, can't remember exactly who. So chemtrailed air plus cloaking technology equals pretty dang good invisibility. Right? That's how that's being facilitated. There are reflective materials, all that heavy metal particulate in the chemtrailed air that make the cloaking technology even harder to perceive. I actually have a video on the Rumble channel. It is proof of directed energy weapons. It's like a 2-minute video. And that guy, Kenneth Grove, has actually recorded these invisibility cloaks. He's not the only one. People do it every now and then by accident. These people creeping around, they'll have like a game trail up, they'll catch them, right? The people utilizing the invisibility cloaks, they are mostly tied to the military, but they also FBI contractors and that type of thing with this trafficking situation. Oftentimes, claims of teleportation or telekinesis are literally contractors wearing cloaking technology. All right, so you'll hear people that you know are targeted. They'll talk about how the human traffickers can teleport into their room, or how they can move things, like physically move things. No, those a lot of times those are literally people wearing cloaks. They get extremely bold with this. When you are completely isolated, they will do all sorts of things, from climbing on your roof at night wearing these cloaks. They'll do all sorts of things, right? Until you wise up to it. And then when you got to get a chemtrail buster too. But you get these chemtrails up out of the air, you wise up to it, and they're going to back way off because it starts to become really dangerous for them. They don't want to get caught wearing this technology. That'd be a big, big, big problem. They'll use body doubles. They'll use people that look like you to walk in your front door. That's pretty common. They have planned entrances and exits. There's always at least 3 routes, meaning if they enter from one side, they have 2 ways out, always. All right, so there's always 3. There has to be. If there isn't, they won't do it unless they're feeling very bold, and that's very, very, very dangerous for them to do. The first time someone gets caught and murdered, or not, I guess you don't murder someone when they're breaking into your house. The first time you deal with one of these break-ins, they have to shut everything down. I mean, you're talking about a huge response. Because because getting caught with this cloaking technology and that being broadcasted, if that made news, even if it was a small post on Reddit per se, that wouldn't happen, but something like that, that could take down thousands of people's jobs. That could take down a huge sector of this industry overnight, and that can happen at any given point. In fact, it will happen. It probably already has happened. It just hasn't broken through, so it hasn't happened. But you know what I mean. Windows and doors will be sabotaged. The frames will be bent to allow access if lock cannot be picked. That's just generally speaking. Usually they pick the lock, and then they get keys made. A lot of times they get keys made to your car, your doors. They'll, like I said, they bend frames. So even if it is like something there's not a key for, there's a lock on the inside, they'll try to bend the frame so that they can stick something in and undo it. There's many, you can use regular sliding locks with a little piece of tape that will stop that. There's many ways to deal with that. Their start locations are very near. These people that are wearing cloaks, there's another reason they move in around you, right? This is one of the biggest reasons they move in around you, is so that they have this launching point that they can creep onto your property from and get back to safety as quick as possible, right? Because dogs and cats will often perceive them. Chickens will perceive them when they're cloaked, stuff like that. They won't know what to do, but sometimes dogs will find these people and they'll bark them and run them off. So how do the nanobots work, okay? This is a big thing. This was from Robert McCrae, The War Inside Your Mind. 2023 is when this came out. He's one of these insiders, high-level spooks. This is from his article, The War Inside Your Mind. He's talking about targeting people. I suggest every target reads it. A decade ago, this is one of the paragraphs inside of it. A decade ago, in 2012, chemists at the New York University created a nanoscale robot from DNA fragments walking on two legs just 10 nanometers long. This is the so-called nanowalker. With the help of pulsar molecules attached to the ends of its feet, takes its first baby steps, 2 forward and 2 back. Its creators envision a future molecule-scale production line where molecules are shifted until the right location is reached. In this unique way, a nanobot injects chemistry like spot welding on a car assembly line. That's already happening. This already is invented. That's why Robert McCrae, high-level spook that he is, was talking about it in The War Inside Your Mind. I don't know why these people talk about these things. I think they think we're too dumb to figure it out, or they don't care. I don't understand. There's got to be a good reason for it. I don't know it, but this is literally what's going on. This is why they spray nanobots on your stuff. It's to crawl inside you, around you, whatever, to help facilitate those crystalline lattices of synthetic biology polymers, right? So that's what the nanobots are spot welding. They're spot welding polymers onto you to create that conductive tissue. So they can be aerosolized. They can also be put into a liquid and be misted onto something, sprayed and gassed into a survivor's environment, these nanobots. They spot weld the polymers to make the synthetic biology stick into polarized pathways of crystalline structure biofilms. They are used to reinforce that weapon system, the synthetic biology nanomachinery weapon system. The organs are attacked often. They're attacking your eyes, your orifices like your mouth. That's how your stomach, how they can make somebody sick. They can crawl in and then they can be activated all at the same time to make you feel sick. Your ears to clog up your and also to clog up your ear canals and also create better conditions for V2K, that type of thing. And then your sexual organs. This is how people are being sexually attacked with directed energy weapons. These nanobots crawl in orifices, and then more or less the nanobots are vibrated. Okay, that's how that's happening, in case anybody was wondering. And muscle spasms, right? So this can simulate rape, and this can also cause people to have muscle spasms. It's very, very sick thing. It's very perverted, and this is something the human traffickers are doing. They're also selling access to women and men's bodies to do this, and it's very perverted. It's like a remote sexual gratification thing. It's like the ultimate, what's the term for that? When they watch, like a person that watches, like a cuck that watches from a distance and gets off on watching. It's that, but it's to its maximum. Red light, heat lamps, disable nanobots inside the body through the body's uh, secretion of H3O2. Basically, you can use red lights to destroy nanobots when they're in and around your body. It can clean your skin from them. There's many other ways to get rid of these nanobots that are built up, but I'd say right now the best solution I have is red lights, right? If you detox the intracellular fluid, if you get rid of bulk fluid that builds up in your body, um, which you do that through eating fruits that are unaffected, you do that through working out, you do that through fasting. If you do that, then the nanobots will have less of a place to be, to hide, to hang out. I don't know the right term for that. How do they keep you from getting help? So all of this going on, this huge, we're talking about $1 trillion program, bigger than that. I mean, we're talking about unlimited money when you talk about the world. This is happening all over the world. How are they stopping all of us from getting help that are being affected, that are being human trafficked this way? Why no other agencies help you? Because the Citizen Informant Network is internally policed. Anyone that helps a targeted survivor faces backlash that can result in murder. This could not be more true, right? And this happens all around the world. The lawyers, the Bar Association, most of them are guilty. A lot of them are guilty. Freemasons, cops, that's almost every cop's a Freemason. It's like 90%, 95%. And other secret societies, but also they have public faces like the Rotary Club or the Elk Club, or geez, there's so many of them. These clubs, they'll operate these little gangs, more or less, and then they will literally hire criminal gangs to kill people. Right? I should have put that there. I just forgot to. The government corruption covers the human trafficking by secretly creating a parallel construction of you to hand out to all the agencies who aren't run by citizen informant networks. So if there's an agency or group that isn't involved in this, they receive the parallel construction about you that you're a pedophile, arsonist, schizophrenic. In my case, that's the one they use on me. And so I'll go to a place like a small town in the middle of nowhere I've never been before. I'll be there, let's say, for a little bit over half a day, something like that. With the Fusion Center, they'll bring out some DHS person, some FBI person, and they'll pass out this fake dossier. 100% criminal, 100% illegal. It's prosecutable under so many laws that we have on the books, and it's not. It's not being investigated. It's all being covered up under these Patriot Act laws, which again don't even really cover it up. It's still illegal under even those laws. Okay, and then they deploy contractors around you to commit real crimes. Okay, that's why they use criminal gangs. So to make the parallel construction even better, what they'll do is they'll hire these Mexican mafia, these bikers, whatever, and you go somewhere and you do something like outside. Let's say you go for a walk in a park where there's people, you don't have to worry about them jumping you or assaulting you or something like that. What they'll do is they'll smash the window. They'll bring somebody there and they'll smash the window of the car right next to you. Right? Or they'll steal a car right next to you. Those are things they have done in my vicinity, literally firsthand, right? Literally, these bikers in my area literally tried to steal a car on Father's Day a few years ago. I stopped them. Didn't figure out till later that they were actually pinning that on me. And the reason they were pinning that on me, or trying to, the attempt to steal the car or the stealing the car, either way they pinned it on me, right? The parallel construction, they get away with it. But didn't realize at the time why they were doing that. Now I do. It's because I was looking into the contractors, the human traffickers' cars, and I was getting good intel, right? Because they were leaving their cars in various places, and I was looking in through the windows, and I was learning things about them. Basically, that the people associated with human trafficking back then were ex-military, right? And So they wanted to do that to make sure that if I looked in cars, it would make it look like I was looking to steal cars, not just looking for information on human traffickers, on people, on slavers, right? The Citizen Informant Network employs mental health professionals to frame you however they can. How literally they will just send someone to your door one day and hope that you answer when they knock. And they will literally say anything. You're suicidal, anything they can get away with. The Citizen Informant Networks are shown the parallel construction and programmed to believe that they are righteous torturers of the target. It's the preconditions for genocide. It always has been, always will be. Okay? So when you believe that you're a righteous torturer, it's not too far to be the righteous murderer, or killer, or the vigilante, right? That person that's going to bring balance back to the country. But of course, you're listening to a government that has only ever been in recent decades corrupt. I can't name the last good thing the government has done. I literally cannot think of the last good thing the government has done. It was probably before World War II. I couldn't even guess. I could not even guess. I'm talking about the federal government. And that, of course, is going to bring us to the conditions we currently are in, the synthetic biology, nanomachinery genocide, depopulation efforts that started before the rollout of COVID, but kicked into the tribulations, shall we say, level during 2020, 2021. And that's where we've been for a while. The most important concept about your wellness. So all of that aside, how do you survive? The true nature of targeting is to put a technocratic set of chains installed onto you with synthetic biology by deep state human traffic operators. You are often reinfected over and over and over, right? And that's to keep you on the internet of bio-nano things. That's to keep you in this network system of this kill grid to maim, kill, torture, kill you. The crystalline lattices can only be held together when you are in a weakened acidic state. So this is the true nature of targeting. A deficit of electron density is acidicness, right? So that's how to keep the chains on you, is to keep you in a deficit of electrons in an acidic state. The directed energy weapons interfacing with the crystalline nanostructure are generating a thermal inflammation. They're generating heat. This heat is separating the molecules within your body, creating that electron deficiency. The heating up of areas of your body while making others very cold to make internal systems inflamed. And also they use the other side of that too, making the body cold where it shouldn't be. So your body is inflamed, and inflammation is what? It's an acidic state, more often than not. The synthetic biology is misappropriating your own body's processes. It's literally stealing energy from your inhalation, and digestion. The metabolization mostly happens in the upper intestine tract. That's where synthetic biology heavily parasites. And the reason for that is because it moves around in your blood, it infects your red blood cell, and it can get to even more places. Your red blood cell is almost like a stem cell, so if it can be hanging out inside that red blood cell, then it can grow itself where you having inflammation, because that's where your body is going to be sending red blood cells. And it creates backwards energy flows, right? These backwards energy flows are the preconditions to chronic inflammation, disease, and death. The preferred conditions to cultivate synthetic Morgellons nanomachinery is the acidic internal environment, its heavy metal and synthetic heavy metal particulate, slow digestion, constipation, general fatigue, dehydration, mineral deficiencies, and to do all this, the food, air, and water must be poisoned, okay? So this whole idea of them building this AI where you can just wear something and have like a perfect, AI experience where you're in Skyrim or something like that, it's never going to happen. All right? You must be poisoned with all of these things. You must be in an inflamed state for them to have any control over your brain, let alone for you to think you're in some virtual reality AI-driven thing. It's never going to happen. Particle theory. This is particle theory. It's not quite accurate, but it works for what we're talking about right now. This is just a quick refresher so you get what electron is. When I talk about having an electron deficiency, the middle clumping of protons and neutrons is the atom's nucleus, right? The negative electrons are around it in a field, right? And there's layers to that field of density. So when I say that this heat, the directed energy weapons, the synthetic biology is creating electron deficiency, what I mean is that the electrons are being utilized by the synthetic biology to build its structures, more or less, and the protons. But what that's doing is it's creating an acidic state. In an acidic state, there's less electrons there, right? That's the only reason that particle theory is right there. Just to briefly go over that. So I keep saying acidic. What I'm talking about is water as a pH of 7. Neutral is a pH of 7. Alkaline is higher. It has a negative charge. And acidic is lower. It has a positive charge. Okay, antioxidants are associated with negative, and oxidizing things are associated with positive. Okay, so stress and aging and all those things, sickness, all resides, well, not all of it, mostly resides in an acidic state. And you are in an acidic state that to grow this nanomachinery. Again, these brain to computer interfaces will never be functionable outside in an acidic state, or excuse me, have not been demonstrated to be functional outside of an acidic state. So brain to computer equals basically a disease. Okay. This is the nature of creation. You can see at the top line, we're going to go across this. I just went over the first one there. Water is a pH. The middle is neutral. Acidic, that side is positive, and alkaline is negative, right? So the acidic state is positive. The water is neutral. Alkaline is negative. Tension is positive. Fat, that's fat. Homeostasis is neutral, that's healthy. Compression or muscles is more healthy, and that's negative. Again, that's positive, neutral, negative. Inflammation is mostly, not always, mostly positive energies. Wellness, this is the same as homeostasis. I shouldn't really include this. Wellness is neutral. Exposure, right? So if you're an old person and you die of old age, what you're really dying of is exposure. Your body can't generate the heat necessary to keep it alive. That's too much negativity. That will kill you, right? So there is some inflammation associated with negative energy. That's why I included it. Heat is associated positive. Room temperature is neutral by definition. Cold is negative, right? And literally there is more oxygen in cold air, right? It's fresher air the colder it gets, except for when it gets to a certain level, it kind of burns your lungs because it's too much for your lungs. It's too cold for your lungs. Fire is another positive related thing. You're looking at the dissipation of molecules. They're being separated and they're being formed. More complex molecules are being formed into less complex elements like hydrogen, oxygen, that type of thing. And carcinogens, the less complex molecules. Solid is by definition a neutral, and frozen would be alkaline state, right, or a negative state. That would be just on the solid level. So when a solid burns, that's a positive dissipation of energy. That's on the positive side. It's a dissipation of energy. When it's frozen, it's containing all that energy in a captured state. But same with solid. So you could actually put solid over into the negative realm too if you wanted to. The static charge shock, right? So when it dispels is more often. See, that's wrong. You could put static charge shock on both sides, and then a plasma is the neutral state, right? So plasma is a static charge going from one extreme to another. That would be the better way. So ignore that more or less. But Plasma is the neutral state of energies. It's going from one extreme to another, or dissipating. That's how lightning works. And that's what the Schumann resonance, the frequency the Earth promulgates, that's how it's figured at 7.86. The Earth is bunch of lightning strikes are going off all everywhere. That's the air and the Earth neutralizing. And the resonant frequency that's produced is 7.82 hertz from that. Okay, all parasites require an acidic, positively charged internal environment. All parasites require an acidic, positively charged internal environment. Whether that's synthetic biology, nanomachinery, or worms, that remains true. As far as I know, prove me wrong. I would love to be proven wrong. This is the law of energies. This is Walter Russell, not Bill Russell. I'll often say Bill Russell, the basketball player. No, it's Walter Russell. So energy comes from the ether, which is way down here in a substrate. We don't need to go into that right now. It flows up into inertia. This is neutral. And it goes beyond into the positive, and then it comes back down into neutral, and then back to the negative. Okay? The reason this is such a good infographic, it's very old too, is that it shows you how energy works. Okay? The negative wants to go to, has a magnetic flow of expansion. It wants to expand. It's compressed like a spring. It wants to expand. The positive is already expanded. It wants to contract. Okay? So that's where this is, that contraction. That's where this is, that expansion. Negative electricity flows with stream. Positive electricity flows against stream. So this is incredibly more potent, right? This is what builds structure, right? So, and this is where electrons are this negative side right here. So when your body doesn't have electrons in it, it doesn't have the ability to maintain structure. What that means is that your body is becoming more and more and more inflamed. All right. These other numbers mean other things, the 1 and the 2, and that's basically how the ether becomes these energies. But let's not go over that right now. That's too much of a different conversation. So what are we doing when we're healing ourselves of synthetic biology, nanomachinery? We're just mating charges. It's as simple as that. If you've got, I mean, it can be pretty complicated, but the concept is very simple. If you've got all this nanomachinery in you that's sticking like a sticky glob, right? And that sticky glob is acidic, like all sticky things are acidic. Then what do we need? If we have a positive charge, what do we need? We need a negative charge. We find that negative charge in our food, in our habits, and so many different solutions. A few I'll go over here in a second. And it finds the nanomachinery, and it mates it, and you poop, pee, sweat, get rid of it. You eliminate it out of the body. Once it's neutral, your body more or less can deal with it most of the time, unless it's in like a part of your body where you have chronic inflammation. Synthetic biology, Morgellons properties. It needs an acidic or less densely electron-occupied body to flourish in. I hope that's obvious by now. When the bonds in synthetic biology, Morgellons, are weakened by an excess of electrons, it falls apart. So when you eat garlic, onions, when you eat fresh garden food, when you eat enough of it, and to break down, and I wouldn't know what enough of it is in any given person. And the bigger point is you do not keep putting acidic foods in your belly, in your digestion, and acidic habits. What's an acidic food? Alcohol is probably the most acidic food, has the most acidic effect, and or liquid, I guess, but it, whatever. And acidic habit would be smoking, right? So that's a very acidic habit. Those are both very acidic. When you stop doing that and you put in the antioxidants, then it can break apart this synthetic biology, Morgellons, nanomachinery. The hydraulic compressionary properties of your body force the synthetic biology, Morgellons, out of the body through the skin or GI, meaning that through your exercise, through your physical activity, through your posture, this stuff will come out. Because if you think of it like this, your gastrointestinal tract is a cavity from your mouth to your butt. And there's a great amount of pressure being pushed onto it, but not only that, being pushed to the outside of your skin and whatnot. It's all like a hydraulic pressure. It's mostly liquid dynamics, right? When you eat something, the pressure of your body is making your organs work and consume all of this food, more or less. Your upper intestinal, your lower intestinal, your stomach. It's grinding all of the nutrients out of it, more or less. You know, there's more to it than that. And all that food stuff, all those caloric minerals, all that stuff is being released, and it's chemoelectrically finding where it needs to go. Okay, uh, the Osmosis Jones idea of all of these separate entities working together, it is kind of correct, right? Osmosis Jones is that cartoon, the white blood cell fights crime inside the body, and it's always looking for a crime. It's always looking for the things out of place. It's kind of correct, but it's a very human way of looking at it. It's not very correct. You know what I mean? It's a little correct. I mean, it's not very correct. The better way of thinking about it is that all of these things that you have in your body have a specific charge. That specific charge has a frequency, a cycle, right? So it has a wavelength associated with it. That wavelength will match a wavelength that your body has in it already. And that's how everything finds where it needs to go. So the hydraulic compressionary properties and the electrical nature of our bodies will force, when you eat these antioxidants, enough of them, when you have enough of these alkaline habits, these negative electricity forming habits in your life, it will find the synthetic biology nanoparticulates all throughout your body, mate with them, and get rid of them. Okay? This whole idea that you can't get this stuff out of your body is not correct. You can 100% get this stuff out of your body. And if you don't believe me, go ahead and fast, right? Don't put any more energy into your body. And your body in its compressionary state, its naturally compressionary state, in a fast with no water and no food, will the negative electricity that's naturally being generated from your body will find the nanomachinery, synthetic biology, and destroy it by itself. So really, all you need to do is stop allowing your body to become acidic. And I know that can be pretty complicated for a human trafficking survivor because you're getting these aerosols, you're getting these break-ins, these poisonings, so forth, so forth. But that's what you need to do. Resolve positive acidic conditions, destroy synthetic biology, nanomachinery, destroy this artificial polarization pathways, this artificial nervous system, reclaim your life. Right? Reclaim your ability to think, to live, right? And a big part of that is your cognitive ability. Cognitive ability. A little ironic, but I am being attacked with these weapon systems. Okay, internal solutions. Learn how to fast. But mastering your body's natural processes is the most important aspect of targeting. Basically facilitating the elimination pathways, pooping and peeing correctly, right? Having the right posture. If you can be in homeostasis while being under attack, you can generate everything else you need with time. Meaning, if you can find wellness while you're being attacked with these weapon systems, or maybe you're not even being attacked with these weapon systems. Maybe you're a regular person watching this. Maybe you know someone that got vaccine injured. The same thing applies for vaccine injured. The same thing applies for chronic inflammation. But the difference is that targeted individuals or people that are being actively attacked with synthetic heavy metals and all that, they're just facing all this stuff to a higher degree. But regular people in the population, they're going through these same processes too. You're still being bathed if you're a regular person, not a human trafficking survivor. You're still being bathed with external magnetic fields. You're still being drinking, eating heavy metal particulate. You're still breathing chemtrails with synthetic biology, nanomachinery in it, okay? So all these things are still happening to you. All of this is still applicable to you. It's just that target individuals have it going on a little bit faster, a little bit harder, a little bit more extreme. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. Homeostasis is an electrochemical set of reactions that you can facilitate by understanding what acidic conditions are, right? We just went over that. Learning the acidic versus alkaline paradigm for healthy eating at drrobertyoung.com. That's the easiest way to get into it for the average person, is learning how to use these foods to create these negative ion bombs inside your body, right? Maybe I shouldn't have said bombs. These negative ion, oh geez, they explosions in your body that find the positive and mate with them and help you eliminate this nanomachinery. Clean intake. Buy clean food from farmers in your area with recent food, right? Food like recently produced. Food prices increase. Food is only marginally more sometimes. Oh, so food prices have increased the food so much that buying from your farmer is only marginally more expensive. So check it out. Buy clean water from locals in your area whom possess wells. Okay, that should be pretty self-explanatory. You're going to want to store that in non-plastic containers for obvious reasons. Metal containers are the best. Clean the chemtrails around your home with DIY negative ion generator found on Onionhead Andrew's Rumble page. That's the chemtrail buster. It's a very recent video. It's like a minute long. You're going to want to build a few of those, right? Because that literally busts the chemtrails and it provides your internal environment with more negative ions and your immediate external environment with more negative ions. And that's good because negative ions are electrons or will become electrons, attached or unattached. You will literally watch them dissipate rapidly under most weather conditions. That is the chemtrails. DIY negative ion generators also disable the cloaking technology dependent on weather technology like fog. Okay, so that's a mouthful, but the invisibility cloaks I was talking about earlier are dependent on chemtrail technology to make them work very, very well. So that's really only applicable to targeted individuals. So how do you detox? You eat fiber to clean the gastrointestinal tract of synthetic biology biofilm plaques. It clean the upper intestinal tract results in more energy due to red blood cell production, so your red blood cells are being less parasited. And cleaning the lower intestinal tract and colon allows the interstitial fluids. I was talking about that earlier. The interstitial fluids are the bulk water that your body needs to eliminate. That's what builds up in the subcutaneous layers. That's what causes edema. I think that's edema. Have trapped heavy metals. The fluids, they trap heavy metals, so you want to get rid of that. And you need to clean your colon to do that effectively. You can shave your skin to remove biofilms and funguses associated with synthetic biology biofilms, and that's also a function of nanomachinery. That's literally, it builds a condition in which various bacterial forms can build biofilm communities. And sometimes, I think, actually almost always, I think, the synthetic biology nanomachinery contains the genetic coding of very simple bacteria. So that opens up hair pores from the biofilm and allows for more sweating. The sweating also helps you get rid of the interstitial fluids that I was talking about with cleaning the lower intestinal tract. So you eat fiber. The best fiber to eat is actually non-soluble fiber. So fiber that doesn't break down in water, fiber that looks more or less like when you ate it, comes out that way. So that could be like grass, for example, like wheatgrass. That's a pretty good one. Just think about all this stuff you can eat that you really don't digest. That's a fiber, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Solutions there are endless. Maintaining homeostasis with 150 watt red heat lamps. Using red heat lamp lights like you buy for an iguana at least 150 watt for drastic benefits. Okay, so that is, I cannot express how beneficial that really is. And what it does is, in every cell, you have a lipid membrane, right? That's a membrane made out of fat. That fat works, that lipid membrane works as a charge barrier, okay? It brings negative water, alkaline water, H3O2 water, around the outside of it to make a nice protective layer for your cell. Around that H3O2 layer is a layer of what we call bulk water. That's where the heavy metals like to reside, is in that bulk water. 150 watt red heat lamp lights, that's a mouthful. They help make that negative H3O2 water, the alkaline water, greater. Okay? It makes a greater barrier, and it pushes more bulk water out of your cell to that outside layer also. So it detoxes the individual cell, and then that bulk water you can eliminate through pooping, peeing, sweating. Okay? 150 watt red heat lamp lights help you with that so much. And when it's doing that, how it's that mechanism, it's deconstructing synthetic biology. Because now you're resolving, when you resolve this bulk water, you're resolving acidic states, right? This interstitial fluid, when it gets out of you, you're resolving acidic states. Synthetic biology, nanomachinery breaks down. It also removes nanobots that have built up in these subcutaneous layers and the outside of the skin. It drastically lowers the acidicness of the body through what I've talked about. It also increases energy level because it helps you produce vitamin D. And it immediately provides a calming effect to the nervous system. And, I forgot to mention this, increases blood flow. So if you've got headaches real bad, you put a red heat light there, go away. For as long as you've got that red heat light going on your impacted area, goes away. When you're being attacked with sexually, right? Well, that's maybe not the right way to say it. When your body is being vibrated, whether that's your organs related to sexual reproduction or various other parts, you can put that red heat light right on there. It'll help you. Okay, you can also do it with deep diaphragm breathing or belly breathing. Diaphragm breathing, also known as deep belly breath or abdominal breathing, is a breathing technique that involves engaging the diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle located below the lungs. That's right there. That's your solar plexus, right in that area. To practice diaphragmatic breathing, one must inhale deeply, allowing the diaphragm to fully contract and move downward, creating more space for the lungs to expand fully. This will enable practitioners to breathe more oxygen-rich air, leading to a more efficient breathing pattern. During diaphragmatic breathing, the abdomen expands as one inhales and contracts as one exhales. Normal breathing is often shallow, which puts stress on the chest and shoulders, resulting in limited air intake and increased body tension. So chest breathing makes you acidic, it builds up a positive charge. Belly breathing helps you with a negative charge. It facilitates a negative charge in your body. Tying a band tightly around the lower stomach is the easiest way to learn. That sounds like exactly like I said it. You just tie a band against your belly for resistance, and you do it for as long as you can do it, and just pushing up against that band as you're breathing will teach you to belly breathe. It's very important. Maintaining homeostasis with negative ion generators and bubble tech. They clean the air around you and take heat positively charged particles like chemtrail and particulate and deionize them so they fall almost immediately from the sky, meaning they bring things to neutral. That negative ion generator I was talking about earlier, that chemtrail buster I was talking about earlier, there's the minute-long video, and then there's another longer video. It's called Bubble Tech, something like that. There's a few videos. That will all more or less do the same thing. It will bring positive elements to neutral, and it will facilitate a negative ion induction into your environment. It deionizes your body, helps your body shed unwanted positive ions. That could also be fat and inflammation, right? So if you want to lose weight, it's one thing you can do that will help you. I'm not saying it's the end-all be-all. The end-all be-all is your diet. Deionizes toxins within your body, helps you detox more rapidly. Almost all toxins are associated with extreme positive charges. I said almost because there's some rare earth minerals, that type of thing, that are associated with negative alkaline, like alkaline metals. But that's for a different reason we don't have time to go over right now. It's extremely effective. You will notice things in nature grow where nothing did before. In your yard, for example, you will notice things come to life. Just the bloom, nature will bloom around these areas where you have negative ion generators and bubble tech going. Maintaining homeostasis. You can wear copper. You can wear copper coiled around you, around your organ sac. You just take stripped copper and you make a brace out of it and you run it around your body. That will help demagnetize you. It's Lenz's law if you want to look that up. Lenz law. Copper also shields too, but most of what you're being attacked with, directed energy weapons, a lot of it's extremely low frequencies, ULF, ultra low frequencies, very low frequencies, that type of stuff. So you can't really shield it very well. Copper doesn't do very good on that. The bigger thing is to get rid of synthetic biology, nanotechnology. That's why I don't talk about shielding very often. Wearing linen, 100% linen is very helpful. It dissipates positive charges. Grounding your bed, same thing. Keeping your legs elevated for a time while laying down. That helps facilitate drainage to the colon, and you can poop that out, all the stuff that gets trapped in your lower body. Sweating gets rid of that interstitial fluid. Cold showers actually produce a negative charge. That's why ice baths are becoming such a fad, have become so popular in recent time, is because they very much do heal you. They produce an excess of electrons for your body. Wearing weight vest, the compressionary forces of a weight vest will, in a similar way of weightlifting, will produce negative ions. Okay, destroying pockets of synthetic biology. By actively maintaining a good posture or trying to, that's very helpful. Putting the fascia all in the right space, the interconnective tissue, will break apart the nanotechnology by putting compressionary forces on the nanotechnology. Stretching also helps. Wearing headbands or any type of compressionary band will help, like literally a band around your head that's tight will help increase blood flow, increase negative ions. Mewing, that's where you put your tongue at the right part of your mouth, on the top part of your mouth. Like that, put your chin in the right space. Helps your lymph nodes associated with your throat, but your brain and your head drain to your throat, down, and then you can sweat, poop, and pee them out, all the toxins. Castor oil helps very much so because it penetrates very deeply. So you can just swallow that, helps clean out the insides. Strength training, cardio, for obvious reasons. External solutions. You must stop the break-ins. Do not ignore them. The cloaking technology only works with chemtrails suspended in the air. As far as I know, I could be wrong. Build the DIY negative ion generators and bubble tech found on Onionhead Andrew's Rumble. And also motion sensor technology can help. So you can, even if that's not fully working, you can, if somebody moves in that space, your sensors will go off. Secure your transportation. They will sabotage cars, usually lug nuts and tires, but they'll do anything they can get away with. Low light camera systems are very helpful for obvious reasons. Live with someone who cares for you genuinely. This is probably the most important external solution. Live with someone you can trust. That will go a mile, miles and miles and miles. And if you do all these other things, then you can protect them too. If you can't find someone, find another target. If you have no friends or family in the area, you have nothing to lose by traveling to other targets. You are being human trafficked, okay? They will give you turbo cancers, clots. They will kill you a million different ways. If you need to change your life, change your life. It's not your fault. It's just something that you've got to deal with. Live somewhere you can modify your surroundings. This is very critical. You want to install those barred locks, those sliding locks, the hardwired cameras, and that type of thing. You want to be able to have negative ion generators. You want to be able to have someone watching your place when you're not there, right? You want to have someone you can trust. If you can do all these things with the internal solutions, you're golden. Spiritual solutions that will lead you to this place. We are one people. What happens to one of us happens to all of us. We're all connected in this. This even the contractors, the would-be slavers that are doing this to us are developing the weapon systems that are maiming their families and themselves right as we speak. Right? This is not a hypothetical anymore. This is literally happening right now. Turn to truth, love, and freedom to be guided supernaturally through these tumultuous times. Pray on your salvation and deliverance regularly. And I'm not telling you to be a Christian. I'm just saying, pray on this and you'll see these things to be true. Ask to be forgiven and humble yourself as we have all been born in this wicked system. All right, here in the United States and most places in the world, we've been born into this hierarchical, Freemason, nasty thing, where pedophilia runs the world. So we need to turn ourselves spiritually towards God, or whatever you want to call that force, and reject all of this wickedness. Just push it out and turn to truth, love, and freedom. And when we do that, these solutions that I've brought forth will become self-evident. You won't need anyone to tell you. You'll know inherently over time that this is the way out of this. Learn of the suffering of the world, right? So learn of the other people that have gone through similar situations that you're going through now, or because if you do that, then your fear will dissipate, and then you can say, I'm not afraid of the federal government. I'm not afraid of saying the right words to certain groups of people at the right times. I'm not afraid of being an outcast for doing the right thing and being the right type of person, being righteous. I'm not afraid of it, okay? But you got to deprogram your fear. Mental solutions. You are not a victim, you are a survivor. This is especially true of targeted individuals, but this is true of everyone, okay? We've all been victimized to some extent in this Babylonian system. Don't buy into it. You're not a victim. You're a survivor. You've always got your actions of now, and if you do things right in the now, who knows what's going to happen? You are a survivor. They are lost. The people that are doing this, they are lost. They are lost in their wickedness, their selfish desires for money, for sex, for fame, for whatever. It's usually one of those three. It's the 7 deadly sins, but they're lost. The system of control that we're in is about victims and perpetrators. They want to turn the victims into the perpetrators and then, in turn, make more victims. Everyone involved in the kill torture program has been traumatized. That even goes with the human traffickers, okay? And the citizen informants. That's the only way they were tricked into this whole thing, right? And I say tricked because they're literally building the systems that are killing themselves and their families and their children and their loved ones, their friends right now. They're literally doing that, okay? So think about that rationally. I'm not saying you have to forgive them. I'm just saying think about this rationally, all right? Everyone has been traumatized by this whole Babylonian system. Yes, targeted survivors like myself are being tortured in real time. It's literally happening in real time. But we have all been hurt in this Babylonian system, okay? That's why you're not a victim, you're a survivor. We are all survivors, and the people that are doing this are lost. They're gone, and they might be donezo pretty soon here. Your free will is being challenged, right? Do you have the chutzpah? I don't know how to say that. Do you have the internal fortitude, the strength to reject this new type of slavery, right? That's being thrust upon you. That's how it's being challenged. But the lost ones have surrendered theirs for material gains out of fear. All right, that's very pathetic. That's a very pathetic thing to do. That's very low. That's very rat-like. That's very, parasitical. That's very bad. That's very, you get my point. So you can have empathy for them in this way, even if you don't forgive them. They are living the life of rats. They have given their free will up for material gain, for money that comes and goes. You won't even be rich your whole life. Like, even rich people aren't rich their whole lives. At some point, they're babies that don't even perceive money. Another point, they're geriatrics that don't perceive money. Okay? So there's no material possession that you should be able to give anyone else to take away their free will. Yet the lost ones have gone that route. And it seems to be that all of leadership is full of these people right now. So these are mental solutions. And that, in conclusion, is how you go from a targeted individual to a targeted survivor. And may God have mercy on all of us, because this is here for all of us. It's not just the people I made this presentation for, the targeted survivors. It's all of us. Every single person that in this society, in the whole world, is on the chopping block now, unless trends change. And I have faith and I have enough love in my heart to know that change will come when enough people reject fear and move into this truth, love, and freedom. Thank you so much for your time. And again, may God have mercy on all of us.
Tweet, tweet, tweet. Tweet, 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 tweet. Ooh, 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 ooh.